Would you like to start streaming this event? Your event is starting. Ah. There we go. It should be popping up on everybody's notification right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, there we
So
go.
there was just one button you didn't click, huh?
One button
Yep,
I
there we
didn't
go.
click.
It's starting. Hey, look, there we are.
Yeah, we got one face and one talking avatar, so.
Hey, I don't want to be on camera right now.
So, how is everyone doing? Oh, I got the one thing there. Where is it? No, that's you. There we go.
So this is a new layout we're trying.
Bad Apple.
Dorian's
Look at this, man. Our chat is
creation.
popping. Our chat is popping. It's gonna be a little delayed for the stream there, but
yeah.
Just letting you guys know, if you're wondering why your chat on screen will take a while to pop up, I had to figure out some stuff, so there might be a couple seconds of an extra delay, not an immediate response like our old videos. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least this way people can see it on screen. So later on, people who watch it, they can see what we have on screen, which is nice.
Yeah. We've got a couple special videos for you guys, a lot of fun stuff. So, oh, where's my? There it
And
is.
then also, I just put in if people want to give us some feedback on the new layout, what they think of it. No, I don't want to be on camera. I'm not decent. I'm naked.
Now all we need is like the pop-up chat and be like, well, if you want to see if he's telling the truth, you gotta donate $400. So.
What? That's a specific amount.
Well, you want to get the money, but you don't want people to feel like it's a stretch. So.
Yeah. So we were going to have a guest tonight, the names junkie, but I haven't heard back from him. So I'm thinking either something came up or he forgot about it. So we'll reschedule him, and if he pops in, hopefully we can squeeze him in. If not, maybe we can set up another time for him to be here, because I'd like to have him on as a guest.
Oops, sorry, that's me. I was just getting our video set up. So. We got a very special video. It's actually going to be a break from our satanic panic of the 80s, so.
Yeah, we need a break from it. We need a break from Satan.
For some reason.
Yes.
All right, I think people are liking it though. Like, looks cool. I would donate. Witchy Jim would donate to see you naked. LOL, JK.
I don't know. No refunds. So if you're disappointed, you don't get a refund.
Ugh, stupid thing is acting up.
Witchy Jim says our stalkers will love it. Stop giving your stalkers something to stalk, and they'll go away. Trust me. He says he'll also donate 1,000. Nice. Okay, go for it.
Oh, more the merrier. So. As long
He's
as
like, no, actually, I was joking.
Well, it was my idea, so I'm kind of saying that I need a cut out of that money.
Yeah, you get 10%. Hey, well, you got to think of it this way, okay? First of all, there's tax.
That's going to be tripping people out right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Then there's my handling fee, right?
Your handling fee.
Transaction fee, processing fee, finder's fee.
Finder's fee.
Exactly.
Well, I got management fees, so.
No. That's included. That's included in the in one of those other fees I mentioned earlier. So by the time you get it, it's going to be 10%. You'll be lucky if it's 100.
Alrighty, watching videos, lame. Well, you guys are going to hear some. Well, should we start the video up or? Would you like to talk about how you're going to charge me more money for selling your
No,
video?
we can hang out for a bit and give the names junkies a chance to show up if he does. He might be running a little late. People might be wondering where Loki is.
Crickets, crickets. Oh, I'm
We
just
had
kidding.
we had a little spat, and so well, let's just say Loki's swimming with the fishes. Just kidding. No, she's hanging out with Soren. It's their birthday.
Well, that's always a good excuse. I would rather have a nice birthday cake right now than a bottle of water and a Big Mac. So,
Now, what kind of cake would you eat? What's your favorite kind of cake
ooh,
for a birthday cake?
Black Forest. Love a good Black Forest cake.
Black
So,
Forest. Nice.
and after that, typical Canadian ice cream cake. So,
Canadian ice cream cake?
oh yeah, man, we get a nice little squares, like little rectangle bars. So,
Now, what makes it Canadian?
Canadian milk.
Canadian milk. That's it? So how do we know it's not just American ice cream cake and you're just slapping a label Canadian on it?
It tastes chemical free. So, all right, I'd like to say hi to
No.
hi to Nicholas, hi to Witchy Jim, hi to Lady Witch, hi to Moat, hi to Cece, hi to Jimmy, and hi to Kawaii's Witch. Got lots of people in the chat
Hey,
today.
Cece, I haven't seen you for a while. And Jeremy says that he's made cakes of light before.
I've never heard of that before.
Did you put in all the ingredients that Marina Abramovich suggests? Did you mix it with morning dew?
Oh man, there's some weird like out there recipes for new age cakes and stuff like that, and
No,
whatever
the
happened to
cakes
good
of
old
light
flour?
isn't. I mean, there's no actual recipe for the cakes of light. It's probably passed down to. I'm assuming it's probably passed down, you know, in during your training as a Thelemite. But the cakes of light doesn't have anything to do with the Marina Abramovich. That's complete bullshit.
Oh man, look at this. Our chat is on fire. Now that they can see themselves, just like, oh, I'm popular. I can see my messages. I can now tell everybody whenever we get into our sick, disgusting conversations live on screen.
One ingredient came from someplace personal. Yeah, but not everybody puts that in the cake of light. I think that was a miss. That was a. I think that was. I don't know how that, but yeah, but I don't think so. I think at that, if they did put anything personal like that into the cakes of light, I think that would probably be a small, very tight group. It's not something you would probably have at like a at a big gathering. Bored at work. I made it with abramelin oil. Oh, okay.
Oh man, look at that. It just pops up my entire bar. There we go.
Dorian's having fun with the screen.
Well, I feel like a little kid in a candy shop. It's just like, oh, is it working right? Is it working right?
So, all right, I guess we could get into the video. What the hell?
All right, so this one is the New World Order. It is from a Baptist preacher.
Whatever happened to the old world order?
Well, the old world order was owned by Christians, so yeah.
Because everybody talks about the new world order.
entertainment amplified YouTube channel. So I'm gonna skip past that little.
This is not a test.
Soon. Well, this is what I want to share with you as an end-time watchman and an evangelist. I'm going to be going over the following with you today. Feds preparing for MetLife, New Jersey attack, which was yesterday. North Korea threatening.
How's the sound for everybody in
North
the chat?
Korea sends letter to
okay?
Southeast Asian countries warning of a nuclear holocaust soon. Russia also made a nuclear drill of 40 million people only 6 months ago. I'm going to be going over Jade Helm, international military intervention. I'm going to be talking about U.S. dollar subliminal messaging, possibly a little bit of 9/11 in there, just to top it off, and the New World Order, as well as the Book of Revelation, what Scripture tells us. We're living in the end times, guys. Our time now is short. For we don't know
You
the
guys
time
know
of
that we're
Mr.
living in the
Tomb,
end
but
times?
I want to know, are you saved?
Witchy Jim says the sound is good.
Perfect.
April 27th, nuclear attack.
You're not hearing anything?
Prepared for New York.
No,
U.S. federal
I am.
authorities are running a nuclear attack drill at MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. That was yesterday. The drill simulates a nuclear strike over New Jersey at the Lincoln Tunnel, which is being called Operation Gotham Shield. Simulates a situation where emergency teams have to cope with a 10-kiloton bomb explosion in New York. Drills are also taking place in Washington, D.C., so that's coast to coast. Homeland Security, DHS, and FEMA. We all heard about stories about FEMA and the guillotines and the military roundup, the ammunition. There's over 1 billion bullets of ammunition.
Does he kind of remind you of Alex Jones?
And have been in the last years. We have FEMA camps set up all over the U.S. all over
these FEMA camps that people are talking about. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. They believe that the government at some point is just going to start, or anytime there's any kind of an emergency that happens, and FEMA comes in and sets up like temporary stations or temporary places for housing. They believe that's going to turn into some kind of FEMA camp. They're gonna wrestle everybody together and then like commit genocide. It's just like, how the fuck do these people? Why are they so paranoid? Why do they have so much mistrust in the government?
Because the Bible tells them in the end times the government's going to be against you, and why?
No, it doesn't say that in the Bible.
Well,
they had no concept of governments back then.
Oh, I'd say they had like dictatorships of the emperors and stuff, but.
Yeah, they had emperors and kings and rulers, but they didn't have governments.
Star Dancer, I like the gay frogs. If he brings that up, then I don't know what I will do. I'll lose my shit.
I wonder if frogs worry about turning humans gay.
Oh god, that's hilarious.
For Canada,
like
all over the world.
And don't lick a human, you'll turn them gay.
So currently, they're conducting Operation Gotham Shield with the purpose of practicing how to assess and evacuate victims during a potential nuclear attack in New York City. I like how they say treat. They're going to treat us and evacuate us. Sounds a lot like they're going to try and take our life. The drill simulates a scenario which is a 10-ton implosive.
So just so our audience knows, I'm going to treat you guys to a good video, which means I'm going to end your life, apparently, so.
Improvised nuclear device goes off in New Jersey side of the Lincoln Tunnel. Stadium MetLife is serving as the primary response center during the multi-day drills, which was April 24th to April 27th. Stadium in the east, Rutherford, about 15 minutes outside of Manhattan. Now, so U.S. is preparing drill. North Korea sends letter to countries warning if you don't join up, if you do not join forces to wake of the military drills in the region. North Korea has warned of a nuclear holocaust in the South Asian countries. Do not join forces against U.S. military region. Russia, 6 months ago, October 2016, Vladimir Putin has sparked fears for World War III, ordering an evacuation drill of 40 million Russians. Now, Jade Helm has been going on for a long time. We're seeing military, foreign military, all over the world. Drills in 2000.
Oh my god, Wikipedia is the best place to go to for your conspiracy theories. That is the best, like, reference thing you can find. Holy cow.
15. These are all pre-planned agendas of exercise and training for after the big flame. We have so many movies that talk about Armageddon, Judgment Day, nuclear strike, and blasts. Just to mention a few: Terminator, The Book of Eli, especially that one. You know, there's Judgment Day, and there's so many other movies that talk about a bomb going off in the ocean. Many people have had dreams of a nuclear attack in New York or hitting the coast.
What the hell does that have to do with what is movies about nuclear attacks have to do with what he's talking about? I don't understand the connection.
That's more that Hollywood is predicting the end of the world kind of stuff. Like the Illuminati.
But I thought Hollywood was like the bedrock of depravity and Satanism and Illuminati. Why would they be predicting the future? Wouldn't that be like a false prophecy?
Well, it's like the whole Illuminati hiding stuff in plain sight. That's the only thing I can think of, in all honesty, from that crazy logic.
Okay.
Stuff. Many people have had dreams about New York being underwater and other places around the world as well. You know, is this a sign? Is the Lord telling us something in our dreams? Leave your comments below. We all know what happened September 2001. We have the dollar bill.
You heard about this one, right?
So.
Oh, yeah, I've heard. Yes.
New York.
Well, which version of
Twin
it?
Towers.
Okay, yeah. The folding of it, so it looks like the Twin Towers.
Simple enough, right? We have the $50 bill here, which seems to be like water coming through the city as there's fire in the background.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be the explosion. Oh, a $50 bill. No, this one I haven't heard of.
Oh man, your American Illuminati is way better than our Canadian Illuminati. Our bills have just weird colors on them.
Well, they are American, that's why.
So could this be symbolism or subliminal message to a possible atomic strike somewhere in the world? U.S., New York, Manhattan? Leave me your comments below. On the $10, what we have here is an exact replica of a nuke design.
All right, in the chat, what do you guys see? Do you guys see a nuke? I don't see a nuke. Hellbound, do you see a nuke?
I don't know if I'm seeing, because I'm seeing what the chat is seeing at this point. I'm not seeing what you are seeing, Dorian.
Well, I thought I had on screen
I'm
share.
seeing, yeah, I'm seeing it on YouTube because I can't see it in the Hangouts. So the one I'm looking at looks like he's talking about the $100 bill.
I am so sorry about that, man. Let me just give me
That's
one
all
second.
right.
Give me 1 second. That was my bad. There you go. Now do you see it?
Yeah. Okay, so now I see it on my screen. Yeah.
That is my bad.
Okay, so it looks so this is the $100 bill?
Let me just back up the video here. Let's see what he said.
Okay.
Fine. On the $10, what we have here is an exact replica of a nuke design.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a nuke.
Yeah, I would say more of a fountain with some extra splash coming from the background or something, but
I mean, you know, this is one of the things about conspiracy theories. Our brains, the way that we've evolved is we see patterns and things. It's one of the reasons why, you know, we're artists and why we create music, and you know, we see patterns in things. We project, well, not really project, but we find meaning in things that don't really have any meaning. And so that's what a lot of these conspiracy theorists do, is they latch on to some of these unusual things that somehow have a connection to something, and they believe it has some kind of a meaning, and they sort of weave their own tapestry connecting all these things together. So yeah, I mean, I look at this and it looks like a folded $100 bill to me. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look anything like a nuclear blast. You know, the traditional nuclear blast is that mushroom cloud design.
yeah.
That's the one. That's the one I recognize.
Here's what I see
And
right here.
this, it just looks.
Well, go
Huh?
ahead,
Go ahead.
sorry. Because here's what I see right here. This right here looks like maybe a fountain platform. Here's the fountain spout, and here's some water coming out, and maybe there's like some kind of show going on behind there, but I can't see a nuke or a nuclear mushroom cloud or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't see it either. I don't even see what you're seeing, Dorian. I mean, I understand that that's probably what you're putting together, but what I see is just a folded, a folded $100 bill.
Well, tell me one thing though. Do you see the little fish right here? This little fishy. Got the eye, you got the tail.
What?
Right here, right where I'm circling. You got your fish eye.
That's not a fish. That's a clothespin.
Ugh. There must be a generational thing, so.
See, you can look at that and you could read a whole bunch of different things into it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like the. Have you ever heard of the pentagram in Washington D.C.?
Oh, that map thing, yeah.
Yes. So that whole thing, those are streets, but none of it actually connects to create a pentagram. And they use different locations. Like there's some that are like monuments, and other ones are ends of streets. And they basically just draw a pentagram wherever they want to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, their lines are there. You can just do it. I mean, there was that joke going around on Twitter that Outback Steakhouse was satanic because all the locations of Outback could create a pentagram.
Oh God, I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, again, our brains see patterns. So if whatever we want to see, we can see it, and then we can pull that out of an image. But the image is whatever we're seeing in that is our projection. It's not actually there.
I agree, man, 100%.
Yes.
Hitting the water. This is the American dollar. The feds are preparing for nuclear attack on New York. And, you know, it's been in your pocket for how many years?
0 years for me, so.
Well, that actually looks
Explosive
like a newer
devastation.
one.
100%.
I think the new bills came out in. When did new bills come out?
I'm not American, man, so I'm not sure.
Fairly recently, maybe around 2000.
We're going to see some stuff this year, folks. The New World Order.
But just so the audience knows, when I found this video is only like a couple months old. So if this actually does happen, then I owe this guy an apology. So.
Y'all
Well,
seeing
he
I have
apparently
Lucifer.
doesn't know too much about nuclear weapons. I mean, it's if we had an all-out war with, like, let's say Russia or China, that's pretty much it for human life. It's not just so much damage that would be done by the weapons themselves, as much as the nuclear winter that would follow, the levels of radiation that would go up. It would just be, it would be the end. It's just catastrophic. That's why they call it mutually assured destruction.
Fallen God, fallen angel, not God, my apologies. Lucifer, the all-seeing eye of reptilian, who is a dragon,
Of course.
is the ruler of this world. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We do not wrestle against ourselves, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. Remember that.
So
The
hey,
war?
pause it for a second, Dorian.
Yep.
I actually was doing some research on this recently for a video that's coming up, and this was written by Paul, who was in jail at the time in Typhus around 61 Common Era. So that's like 61 AD for those of us who are old school. And the whole Ephesians chapter 6, he's actually talking about humans and how they fall into greed and grace and get into fights with each other about stuff like, whatever, power struggles and everything. And the Greek word devil, which is used in Ephesians chapter 6, comes from the Greek the diabolos, somebody who's like diabolical, somebody who's a wicked person or greedy. So that's what Ephesians chapter 6 is about. It's about how man struggles with his internal desires. And, this is what this Bible passage is actually referring to. It's not actually referring to other beings. It's not referring to devils or demonic spirits. It's actually talking about how we wrestle against stuff inside of ourselves.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Has already been won. God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for us on the cross. And many people are living in fear because of rumors of war. So you have to ask yourself, is the life you're living worth the penalty that God sent his only begotten son to die for your sins? Are you going to continue living a life of sin?
Yes.
For the new world order, Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is the rise of the beast, wants you dead. He wants you in hell.
So this eye of providence is
Revelation.
supposed to be the eye of God.
The eye of God. This guy recorded his video in very low quality, man. Like, I may have exported it onto a non-internet drive, but OBS, man. Like, if you took OBS right here, it's just bugging me a little bit. You could crop this part out here, crop the sides down here, and have everything nice and neat. Instead, who knows, he's probably blurring out some of his porn that's up here, so.
Christian porn.
You can find many rumors of wars. But what I want to
The heck, man?
share with you is this. Many have spoken about Donald Trump assassination. How did World War I start?
And now you're going to run for president. Don't you think that's a really cool idea, you guys? You'll keep them honest. You'll keep them honest, Donald. Personally, I hope you win, because I can't wait for the the inauguration.
World War I started off with an assassination of a very important person. As we all know, history has the great occurrences of repeating itself over and over again. The assassination that started World War I, the attack by Serbian extremists on the hairs of an Austrian throne, June 28, 1914, sparked what was called the July Crisis in Europe. Right now we're going into the month of May. July is only around the corner. This is where World War I began. Could the same thing happen July 2017, another assassination of a important person? In World War I, it was Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie had just arrived in Sarajevo. So the story is that the first assassination attempt failed. How many people have tried to attack Trump during his rallies? It's happened many times. But the quick reaction of the Austrian story of World War I is, out of the corner of his eye, Franz Ferdinand saw something happen. Someone knocking the hand grenade out of the car. It landed out of the car. So on and so forth, injuring two of the car's passengers, and someone was assassinated.
You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
An incident that took place less than 15 minutes ago.
The assault on the president. We'll examine the videotape of the shooting with a former.
I want to explain something to you about the Twin Towers.
He played the clip of the sound clip of the Kennedy assassination over a mock Trump assassination edit. So.
Okay, yeah, because I'd never heard anything about. Why did he do that?
I guess he's trying to be dramatic, so.
But he's trying to imply that somehow somebody. Can you go back and just play that over again?
Yeah, no problem.
Go back to the point where he started talking about it.
Story of World War I is
like right past here too, or is this good?
Yeah, this is fine. We can start it here.
Okay.
Out of the corner of his eye, Franz Ferdinand saw something happen. Someone knocking the hand grenade out of the car. It landed out of the car. So on and so forth, injuring two of the car's passengers, and someone was assassinated.
You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
An incident that took place less than 15 minutes ago.
The assault on the president. We'll examine the videotape of the shooting with a former.
Yeah, so he left it that way, that he didn't explain that. So he showed a clip of Donald Trump and then switched to, I think it was Tom Brokaw, talking about the John F. Kennedy shooting. But he didn't clarify that. He just kind of let it play through. So if somebody was really ignorant about history, they might assume that Donald Trump there was an attempt made on his life.
Yeah.
It's just kind of disturbing and slimy.
Something to you about the Twin Towers. If we look at Revelation 11, talks about two witnesses have the power to shut up the sky so that no rain may fall during these days. They're prophesying for the prediction of events relating to Christ's kingdom and speedy triumph. When they have finished their testimonies and their evidence is all in, the beast, the monster that comes out of the abyss, the bottomless pit, will wage war on them and conquer them and kill them. I strongly believe that the Twin Towers is a symbolism for the death of the two witnesses that will occur.
Holy crap, not only is that not biblical, but trade towers involve money. Money is greed. The Bible says you can't have two masters. What the hell is this guy talking about?
I don't know. I thought the Twin Towers were supposed to represent good and evil, or I mean, there's all kinds of different theories about what had happened around September 11, 2001. And it's like whatever suits their narrative, whatever they're trying to talk about, whatever they're trying to fit together, they put some kind of symbol, they associate some kind of symbolism with the attacks of 9/11. I mean, it was a horrific event, and I don't know. I mean, these people, I almost feel sorry for them, because they're grasping at it, trying to put meaning onto it, because it was a horrific event, and it changed. It should have changed the course of history, but unfortunately it didn't, because we didn't learn from it. But it was such a horrific event. I think a lot of people don't quite understand what it meant, and so they're trying to like put some meaning onto it, like there's some deeper philosophical or religious meaning behind it. No, it means that to destroy America, and that's their entire goal, and they don't care how many people they kill in the process of it. They just want America to die. They hate us, and people, for whatever reason, I mean, we want to find the best nature in human beings, but there are some human beings out there that just basically want to kill you.
Yeah.
And people just don't understand that. They just don't understand it.
The one thing I find really ironic too, though, what everything he said, when have the Twin Towers ever preached about Christianity?
Yeah, it's not like a hub of religious zealotry.
Because I've seen people talking to buildings, but I've never seen buildings talking to people, so.
And if you ever do, you might want to see a doctor.
Because after the attack of 9/11, there was one tower that rose after. If we look at chapter 13, Revelation, now this is where I come into Trump. And the beast that I saw resembled a leopard, but his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth was like a lion. We're talking about reptilian right now.
No, that doesn't sound like a reptilian at all.
That sounds like Trump to me, man. I don't know what you're hearing, so.
It's probably something that animals had certain associations, certain meanings, and whatever meaning was associated with those various animal parts is probably lost to us. I mean, biblical scholars probably understand it better than we do, but it probably represents something. It probably represents like strength and honor or something.
Yeah, because one
like
thing,
heraldry.
There's even courses you can take, well, YouTube courses and everything, where they walk you through how the Bible has lots of, what are those words called?
Bullshit?
Where it's just dramatic speech and stuff like that. Like, even the whole thing of the Revelations about the statue represented different countries and blah, blah, blah. So, it's never exactly word for word.
Yeah. I mean, it's also different time periods, because the Bible was put together by so many different books, and then also there were books that were left out, and a lot of the books were basically repeats, and so you have like duplicate stories in there. And so all the various stories in the various books that make up the Bible, they came from a different time period, and there was like a good 20, 30, 40 years between some of them. And that's enough time to have what they would consider during that time as sort of like common knowledge, later on would not be common knowledge, and it would be misunderstood. It would be like us trying to explain do you know the way to somebody 20 years from now. They're not going to understand it. They won't understand what it means.
Yeah.
To them, it would be like nonsense. It would be like they'd probably interpret it completely different, because they don't have a what do you call it? They don't have a reference point, So that's how I see a lot of the stories in the Bible.
We're talking about Lucifer and his fallen. But there's one specific person that this is all relating to. And to him, the dragon gave his own might and power and his own throne and great dominion. And one of his heads seemed to have a deadly wound. Kill shot. There are many videos about Trump being a double, being a clone. Also, he's born in the month of Gemini.
Trump is a clone. There's more than one Trump in the world.
Oh, no. No. One is enough. We don't need any more.
What if Obama was just a black Trump reptilian bear clone?
No. No, that's heresy. That's heresy.
Oh, this is
No, we don't need one Trump is enough. We don't need any more.
June?
I'm gonna be cloned. It's gonna be huge.
Many say that there is a cerebro Trump, and then there's the real Trump, there is the blue tie Trump, and there's the red tie Trump.
First, there's two Trumps.
Okay.
The one in the red tie is the real one. The one in the blue tie is not. The one you saw last night after the victory was the blue tie.
So having a different change of clothes makes you a clone.
Go ahead, go ahead.
It's a tie. It's just like, am I going to wear the same tie for everything, or am I going to mix it up a bit?
I mean, come on. Is this guy fucking serious? I mean, come on.
All right, 'cause, you know, I got
He
my
thinks because it's a different color tie, it's a clone?
purple color tie Dorian is the real Dorian. Red heart tie is the clone Dorian. The Dorian you saw in the videos last week was a different fake Dorian.
This is the Dorian clone today.
I'm just looking at this guy right here. It's like, yes, this is the guy I'm going to go to for accurate information about clones.
Right, exactly, yes. He looks like he has a lot of experience with cloning.
Oh, man.
Now,
He cloned those chairs behind him.
Why is the pause working? Oh, there you go. All right, got. Oh, wait, no, we have to believe him, man. He has a healthy green shake, so.
Yeah, and also I noticed he's got a lot of papers around him, so he's obviously doing something important.
Oh man.
Ben Carson, when Trump called him a pedophile, and the next day he joined Trump, and the guy asked him, see, every now and then you slip and say something. He said, why'd you do that? He said, there's two Trumps. I was with the good one. You see it there.
This also, Twin Tower attack, represents the fall of two, but rise of one.
Talk to you in 3 hours. Me interviewing me, that's what I call a great idea.
Of course it's a great idea. We thought of it.
But they're both wearing red ties.
I think I was talking to a mirror. Well, what are you talking about?
Revelation 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Okay, buddy. You could easily fix this in editing. I can teach you for free. Like, if the guy's watching this and never watches this in the future, I'll teach him. I'll give him some pointers, so.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast.
He duplicated that image before? That it wasn't the whole image?
I think that's what he's getting at. Like, the whole secret message thing, but I'm not sure what he's trying to get at with this.
Yeah, because he started out with the one image, and I thought that was the whole image, the painting, and I don't even know where this came from. He hasn't explained it to us, but I thought that was the whole image. But now it's starting to look like that's not. It looks like he flipped it. He duplicated it and mirrored it on the other side. So this is the actual image, and now he's taking the red part, which was the part where he was doing that whole color thing to reveal an image of a beast, which I never saw in there. I mean, this guy is just, I mean, he is really, really stretching it.
Well, all you gotta do is
he's stretching it so thin.
all you gotta do is bring up the scientific studies that have proven that people, we naturally look for faces in things. Like, you could go look at a pile of clothes and you might see a face in there. Like, our brains are hardwired for that. It's not some big Illuminati exposed situation.
Who was like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power
Yeah, but
was
he
given unto him.
created that image.
Yeah, like he's controlling the red boxes and everything. Like, I don't know. I still don't see it. Like, I still don't see the hidden angel inside. So.
Oh man.
Him to continue 40 and
And
2
he didn't
months.
explain where this image came from or what it actually looks like yet, has he?
No, for all we know, it came from Tumblr. So.
Oh no, that's right. It was a Bank of America fresco.
Huh.
So I'm gonna look up Bank of America fresco. And where was it supposed to be?
Right next to that weird guy in black and everything.
No. He said right at the beginning of this, he said it was a Bank of America fresco, and then he said what city it was.
I can't remember. I think it was Chicago.
Okay.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth shall.
So the Presbyterian Church is also involved in the Twin Tower attacks. So.
Yeah, so that image, I'm looking at it right now. It's only the one part. It's not flipped and duplicated. It's just the one part.
So this really is him even stretching more than we thought then.
Yes. Where's it from? I don't know. It doesn't help that I'm looking at
whose
the
names are
Vigilant
not written in the book of
website.
life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Here you go, man. The Bank of America predicted Trump's rise to power after the Twin Tower attacks. So I'm not sure if you might have missed it when you were searching at stuff, but when he flipped it, so we got the two guys here who represent the Twin Towers, and these weird things here represent the planes. So we have the two towers being hit by planes, and with their fall, Trump rises. Like, the only logical explanation for all this.
But I thought that image, the guy in the black robe was supposed to be Trump.
That's what I thought too, because it kind of looked like Trump with the weird hair, but...
And then what are these three guys talking about over here? They're pointing over towards him.
It's like, have you seen the Messiah? Lord Emperor Trump?
Oh, man.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Okay, I just want to say, he's going through all their family and being like, here's Trump's father, he has Christ in the middle name. Does that mean when I go to a produce market and I see my produce was picked by a Mexican guy named Jesus, that guy is somehow connected to the New World Order?
Sure, why not?
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast.
It took Trump 70
For it
years,
is
7 months,
the
7
number
days.
of a man, and his number is 666.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we actually add it up, it's probably not true.
But he just also said here, from Trump's first day in office, it took him 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days from his birth. But even in that book of Revelations, that's still not 666.
No, it's not.
You knew damn well
that-
I was this.
Oh, yeah, go
But
ahead.
that doesn't matter.
Snake before you took me in.
An incident that took place
There's
less
that
than
clip
15
again.
minutes ago.
The assault on the president. We'll examine the videotape of the shooting with a former.
But his death stroke was healed, and the whole earth went after the beast in amazement and admiration. They fell down and paid homage to the dragon. The rise of Babylon, the Antichrist, once again, because he had bestowed on the beast all his dominion and authority, they also praise and worship the beast, exclaiming, "Who is a match for the beast, and who can make war against the beast?" And the beast was given the power of speech, uttering boastful and blasphemous words, and he was given freedom to exert his authority and to exercise his will during 42 months, 3.5 years. And he opened his mouth, speaking slander against God, blasphemous his name and his abode, even vilifying those who live in heaven. He was further permitted to wage war on God's holy people, the saints, and to overcome them, and the power was given to extend the authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation. And all inhabitants of the earth will fall down in adoration and pay him homage. Everyone whose name has been recorded in the book of life of the Lamb that was slain in sacrifice from the foundation of the world. If anyone is able to hear, let him listen. Whoever leads into captivity will himself go into captivity. If anyone says, with the sword must he be slain. Then I saw another beast rise up out of the land.
I fail to hear or see where he's going with this in Trump.
What was that?
I fail to understand where this is coming to a connection with Trump, because you guys had those huge protests against Trump and everything like that just like a couple days ago. So how's that bowing down and worshiping Trump?
I mean, it's like that one guy that I did the video on, where he's driving around, like seeing random images and incorporating them into his crazy conspiracy. I mean, it's the same thing. They just kind of like, they weave together all these random images and all these various events and stuff like that, and weave them into some kind of a narrative, and then match it up against various Bible passages, because he's bouncing around the Bible. I mean, he was talking about Ephesians, now he's talking about Revelations. I mean, so he's bouncing all over the place. I mean, there's no true cohesion. I mean, it's all like this patchwork insanity that he's just kind of like desperately trying to weave together.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just
He's trying hard to patch something together, but I don't even think he knows where he's going next. So.
Yeah, I don't think he knows either. He's just kind of like, you know, whatever corner he comes around, he just figures out some way to tie it in. And he's not really tying anything in. I mean, none of this is really coming to any culmination. At least some people, like the Vigilant Christian, at least he sort of has some kind of a, you know, like he'll have something that he wants to prove, and then he'll build all this stuff, pull it in to build up a case. But what is this guy's case so far? I mean, what is the name of this video?
This one here was, give me 1 second here.
It was something about the New World Order, right?
Yeah. Reptilians. Yeah. Yeah, it's like reptilians, New World Order, Satanic Illuminati.
Yeah, so none of this has anything to do with any of that.
Yeah, so far it's just about Trump being a bear creature lizard person. And
yeah, and buildings and paintings, and now he's on 9/11. I mean, it's just, none of it makes any sense. None of it is... I tell you, it's just, when you start looking at these conspiracy theories and you try to make sense of them, it's almost, what's scary is when you actually when they actually start to make sense to you.
So
I'm serious. Like, it's really scary. Like, when I watch some of these videos and it actually starts to make sense to me, I'm like, oh shit.
So you're saying I should send him an invite.
I have to take a break.
So you're saying I should send him an invite to get him live to talk to us about this?
We'd never get him to shut up.
Well, as long as I got the controls here, I can just be like, you know what? You are being muted.
No, with something like that, you just let him ramble on. It's just like, let's see where this is going to go.
And we'll have our first popcorn giveaway, too. It's just like, go on Amazon shopping list and be like, all right, guys, you get popcorn. You get popcorn. Enjoy the show.
He's like, he's got a full tank of gas and no road.
No road.
Land, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke and roared like a dragon. He exerts all the power, right?
Well, what's up?
I was just saying, lambs don't have horns.
In control of former beast in his presence, and causes the earth, those who dwell upon it, to exalt, defy the first beast, the first Trump, whose deadly wound was healed, and to worship him. He performs great signs, startling miracles, even making fire fall from the sky to the earth in men's sight.
We said there's 2 Donald Trumps. That's easy to pull up.
You said there were the 2. Are there 2 Donald Trumps?
There are. Yeah. But which one is running for president? Which one? Which one?
Who have you seen? Tell us who you have seen.
Well, I have seen a man who's actually willing to sit down and engage in deep, serious conversations about the problems that affect our country.
Here's the biggest problem with the 2 Donald Trump theories, though. If there really would be 2 Donald Trumps, they are doing a horrible job of covering that up. The easiest explanation they can actually give for that is there's the public Trump, and then there's the in private Trump. That's the easiest explanation between the 2 Trump theory.
Yeah, and also I think that, I mean, I'm not familiar with that whole show of The View, but I'm assuming that what they were talking about, just by the context of that brief little clip, is they were talking about like the 2 personalities of Trump. They weren't talking about actually 2 Trumps.
Yeah.
They're talking about like, you know, he has maybe his public persona and then his private persona. You know, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I understand completely.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it sounded like they were talking about on The View.
But that sounds way too normal and sane, so.
Yeah, really.
Pathological. There's no cure for that, folks.
There are 2 different Donald Trumps. There's the one you see on the stage, and there's the one who's very cerebral sits there and considers things very carefully. You can have a very good conversation with him. And that's the Donald Trump that you're going to start seeing more and more of right now.
I think there are two Donald Trumps. There's the public version, and people see that, and I don't know what they see exactly, but it seems to have worked over my lifetime. But it's probably different, I think, than the personal Donald Trump. I think Ben would say that. Ben said
that makes
it very
perfect
well.
sense. How do you misrepresent that?
Yeah, I have no idea.
That makes perfect sense, though. Like, you would have to go out. You'd have to already be in the mindset that, oh, look at this. He's even exposing himself right here.
How is that the rise of the Antichrist?
I don't know.
Have they even
wanna know.
built that?
Yeah, apparently it's built.
Instead of building that.
It's even because of the reflection on the glass. It's even melting some parts of cars across the street. So, if you want
Oh,
satanic,
really?
there you
Oh,
go.
okay.
You got a building that attacks people.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know at what stage it was. I guess I thought that they were thinking about building it, but I guess they built it already.
Well, if you ever get some free time, go look up One World Trade Center burning cars. So, it's kind of funny.
Okay, I'll do that.
Do you have
Sounds
Jesus
like a New York
Christ
problem.
in your life? Because he's the only one that's going to save you. So what we're seeing is a lot of information, okay? However, history will always repeat itself. If you look back, if we look way back, the civilizations are no different than today.
Take your time, buddy.
There were
It's okay.
kings, there was pharaohs, there was Pharisees and priests, so on and so forth, who ran everything, and they had their slave population.
What's going on with that
Lions-
board in the background? Is that like his advertisement
I think so.
blocking?
But
So okay, so we see an A, and then a YouTube symbol, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram.
yeah,
But we don't see anything else because his big old head's in the way.
here's the part I really love.
So is he promoting?
Yeah, he's trying to.
Is he promoting his social media?
Yeah. Great. So you use Blue Yeti, right?
Yes.
Do you see anything wrong with his Blue Yeti?
Yes. He has it pointed directly at him, and that's not the way you should do it. You're supposed to speak on the side of it, not it's not a what do you call it, a shotgun mic? There is, so that he's using it like a shotgun mic, but not a shotgun mic. It's a what's the term? It's shit. Let me look at the manual here. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's using it wrong.
So here, to all the people at home, I'm talking into it normally. I got it here. Whoop, let me just bring it up here, right on my side. Now, if I was to talk into it like this, you guys can probably hear a big difference already. So, the way he's using it really shows you the effort that he put into his fact checking, because it even tells you on the instruction manual when you take the microphone out of the box. So.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, so he's using it as a shotgun mic.
Yeah. Not the brightest guy.
No. See any
The
of the social
Aztecs,
media. And,
ancient Asians, Egyptians, it doesn't matter what corner of the world, they all ran the same way. Slavery, death, murder, pedophilia, rape, worshipping of fallens. Every civilization, ancient civilization, is being run like it is today, and then till one day there was a fallen who came to this place.
Oh
this
crap!
earth.
No! Hide the Canadian flag.
Doesn't matter what
Hide the
civilization
Canadian
you're
flag.
looking
No!
at. They used to do massive.
You see that,
human
right?
sacrifices. Drink blood.
Oh.
Yep.
They would
I
hybrid
see it.
man with
No
animal.
turning back now.
What are we
Oh,
seeing today?
no.
We're seeing a
No.
transgender agenda. We're seeing transhumanism. We're seeing man and hybrids. This is messing with the blood, which is the creation of God, the seed.
We already have the vigilant Christian.
Ancient
Why is there another
civilization
one?
is no different than today.
Why are they
One
so
day
scared
soon,
of transgenders?
Just like in ancient times, there will be a fallen of angels or claim to be God and goddesses who men will fall down and worship, who is the Antichrist. The rise of Babylon. It's printed right on the $1 bill, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, the dragon.
Actually, Witchy.
You cannot be.
Or
a
sorry,
slave
actually,
to both
Jimmy.
masters. You have to decide. You have to make a choice,
I
man.
do have a video
You know?
somewhere about
People
the
didn't believe in
transgender
God,
agenda.
so there was the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. People didn't believe in God, so God sent in the great flood to wipe out the Nephilim, the rising. This time he's coming
What's the
with fire
symbol
and
right
brimstone.
below the Canadian flag, though?
People didn't believe in God, so he sent his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ,
Trying to
who
figure that
walked
out.
into the earth and did
come on,
great
don't act up on me now.
healings.
I've been trying to figure that out. At first, I thought it was toast. I'll try to pause it next chance I get.
Okay. Yeah, it does
Rose
kind of look like
from the
toast.
dead.
Like some kind of a
He's the only.
growth toast.
Yeah, I can't make that out.
Man, person who has not sinned.
So what's the name
Jesus
of this
Christ
guy's
is
channel? Is
Lord.
it A Entertainment?
Jesus Christ is King. This is the gospel. This is the truth. If you look at time, time is quickening.
Whoa, what
Because
the
Satan
heck?
knows
No,
his
no,
time
no,
is
no,
short.
no.
And he wants you to go to hell. He wants to corrupt your seed. If he can corrupt your
Stop
heart, to
acting
live in
up,
fear,
no.
anger,
Stupid Windows
lust,
update.
fleshly desires.
Windows update.
You are
Get away
having.
from there.
You are growing in black seed, for you will be rooted into rock. And your thistles and your bush will grow thorns. God teaches us that the water, we must drink his water. The water is the word. The word is Jesus Christ, who is sent by God himself, who is the bread of
Alright, I'm
life.
gonna end this video. It's just
We
getting all
must
preachy now.
intake.
Alright, I'm just
The word is gonna happen all over again.
Yeah.
Love. But
He's not making any sense. I mean, none of this is making any sense.
Yeah, he kind of went off there on a whole crazy pill, but there we go.
And then I had a good look at that symbol. I have no idea what the hell it means. It's supposed to represent.
Yeah.
And then I assume the name of his channel is A Entertainment.
Watchmen TV.
What?
Yeah.
Then what the hell was on the background there?
Oh, let me just get this.
I mean, that poor guy. He's just whacked.
Yeah, here I'll pull it up. And
I mean, some of these people who are stuck in these conspiracy theories, they don't make any sense when they talk, and they're rambling on about the Bible and other stuff that they hear from other people, and I don't know. At some point, I just feel sorry for them because they have nothing else going on in their life except this. You know what I mean? That's all they have to do is just preach and make shit up and just regurgitate other crap that people have been forcing down their throats.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? He has 51,000 people who watch him. Right there.
That's crazy.
And here's us watching him. So, I still can't figure out what that image is, and he's Watchmen TV for anyone at home who wants to watch this. Oh my god. So,
wow, 51,000 people watch this guy. I mean, I wonder what percentage of them watch him for the lulz.
I don't know. We could go through his chat and stuff like that, but well, I'm just gonna get.
Sure, why not?
All right, and we can even comment too. Like we can get our chat together, and we can all leave a group comment. Like we did that masturbation guy.
Okay. Yeah, which we never heard back from.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to type with one hand, so. Excellent. Expose evil always. Great video. We all must be led to true repentance. Damn.
I wonder what we should say. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, guys, what should we say?
So Animus is saying that he thought the Melty building was in London. Did they repeat that mistake in New York City?
I thought I actually read something on that about the whole One World Trade Center and stuff like that.
All right, well, I'm going to hop on the Google machine and find out.
51,000 subscribers, but only 1,800 views. A lot of people don't care about their sub box. Like, that's a good point. Like, you can actually buy subs. I remember watching a Leafy is Here video about that.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, well.
Okay, yeah, so it is the London Tower.
I guess I was mistaken.
Yeah, London skyscraper acts as a car melting heat ray. The skyscraper is melting cars like they're ants under magnifying glass. So yeah, so it's a tower in London.
Sort by top comments. Oh, newest. Oh, 8 months. I can always just put like, hello, want to be on our show? Alright, well, is there a video that you'd like to see, man, or because that was my only real backup one?
Well, you know, I sent you a couple on Twitter. But here's one. Let me send you this link. This is a good one. I think. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me type it in here.
Well,
I'm gonna make sure I send you the right one.
Well, Animus, man, you beat me. I was flawed in my logic. Way to go. You can now brag in the chat all you want. I will take it like the Canadian I am, so. Yeah, so the reason why we had this video on is not just a palate cleanser, but sometimes we bring on guests who are not really pagan at all, so it's nice to mix things up. Are you going to send the video through my Twitter or the private chat?
No, I'm sorry. I'll send. I was just getting it.
Okay.
So let me put it in the Google Hangouts. All right, there it is.
Alrighty. But yeah, what we were talking about before, the whole trans New World Order stuff. There are videos like that already, like the trans New World Orders beating out the gay New World Order. So. Damn, 1 hour and 32 minutes.
Well, we probably won't finish it today.
Deception of a Generation, a 1980s VHS video.
And right now it's on mute.
Yeah. I just that way in case like it blares at the beginning, I don't deafen people who are wearing headphones. So.
Oh yeah, they definitely do at the beginning.
It's a little respect to the audience. So.
Oh. Gotcha, Roger.
Eagle's food.
Let me know what you guys think of the volume.
The Eagle's Nest with Gary Greenwald. This unique program combines the dynamic ministry of God's Word, the discussion of contemporary issues, and the demonstration of God's power. Now, here's Gary Greenwald.
Hello, I'm Gary Greenwald, and over the past several years, the Eagle's Nest Ministries has exposed certain things like rock and roll music, Dungeons and Dragons, marijuana, and even the New Age movement, and now we feel there's another attack upon our society. If I say something like wicked witches and demon clouds and spell books, and even the zone of eternal evil, what comes to mind? What do you think of?
Dungeons
you
and
think
Dragons.
of a
Dungeons
coven of
and Dragons.
witches? Or a seance? Watch now.
Wicked witches, demon clouds. Where do we start, Mr. Van Gool?
You start by getting that spell book before those foolish witches destroy the world.
We've got some witches to splat.
You coming with us, Mr. V? I'm afraid I cannot. Like we're not into witches either, sir. We'll stick with you. If you wish, I'm going to hunt down that demon mist in the zone of eternal evil where the darkest spirits are trapped. Like on second thought, send us a postcard.
Good luck with the mist, Mr. V.
If they don't recover that book, no amount of luck will save us. Oh, powers locked within this stone, transport me now to the evil zone. I hope I find that mist before.
You know, you've been watching a Scooby-Doo cartoon, and it's amazing to me to see what's being brought forth in a cartoon. We've seen spell books, occultic amulets, we saw a crystal ball, astral projection to the evil zone, all of this in a children's cartoon. Now, I have got a guest today. His name is Phil Phillips. He's from Texas. He has been involved in missions work in his life, and he has now felt called to study the effects of cartoons and children's toys and even TV programs upon our children today. And I'd like to introduce a young man. And Phil, God bless you, and it's good to see you today.
It's a pleasure being here today. Gary.
Now, Phil, I'll tell you what, 14 years ago, Scooby-Doo was a lot different than what we see today, and I could hardly recognize it. Can you tell me what's going on in this cartoon?
Yes, there's a vast movement toward the occult within the cartoon and toy industry. Most people don't realize that 80% of all cartoons deal directly with the occult, and 40% of the toys on the market have occultic influence, and these are the most popular.
And these toys are actually a mirror of the cartoons, is that correct?
Right, they're released together. It's a form of marketing where the toys and the cartoons are released together to create this popularity for the toys.
Now, you have a concern, I know, that all of this is affecting our youth, and I wanted to know, do you feel that there are a lot of children that are being influenced by the cartoons they watch?
Oh, yes. Take, for instance, a cartoon like Heathen and Masters of the Universe. It can be seen as many as 31 times a week in an area with a viewing audience as much as 16 million children each time it's aired. And so we're seeing a vast effect on the whole United States and other countries around the world through these cartoons and toys.
Millions of children now watching occultic cartoons.
What's happening to them?
I don't know. I'm trying to make out his face, though. Like, he's sitting very still. Like, I would just sit like that. It'd be like... There is something really wrong in the world today. It is all the toys and satanic stuff.
Yeah, but his hair does look plastic, like a toy. He kind of looks like Trump. Oh my God, it's the Trump clone.
Wait, is it the blue tie that's the clone or the red tie that's the clone?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen his tie yet. I mean, we gotta pay attention to his tie. What color is it?
I'm trying to avoid.
So
is
the blue Trump bad or is the blue Trump good?
I think they said red Trump tie or red tie Trump is the real Trump, blue tie is the fake one.
Ah, okay, okay.
And then going out and buying occultic toys. Now, could we say that there is witchcraft and occultic practices that are actually being portrayed in these cartoons?
Oh, yes, the witchcraft.
Oh, it's red. It's red. Red stripe.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
You satanic... Oh, I can't even do a Trump Trump voice. Ugh.
What should we call the police? What should we do?
I don't know. It looks just like a young Trump.
It's spooky, man.
And occult practices are not make-believe. They're taken from actual witchcraft, actual pagan religions, levitation, mind control, astral projection, and other forms of witchcraft ceremonies are portrayed within the cartoons.
All of these things are portrayed in the cartoons?
Yes, very much so.
Well, then we could suspect that there's some kind of a spiritual force
in the cartoon.
I can see it in some episodes of Scooby-Doo. But it's always a man in a mask, so...
force behind these things to program our children.
Oh, yes. The children receive this in a very different light than we do.
Well, Lynn, before we talk about that, let's go into another Scooby-Doo cartoon, and let's see some of the occultic and witchcraft influences that are very blatant in this cartoon. Let's go to Scooby-Doo again here.
We meet again, Vincent Van Gogh.
Marcella, so you're the evil mist. But how did you wind up in the zone?
Oh, I was swept here by a spectral wind after I escaped your chest of demons.
From one trap to the next. You never were terribly clever, were you, Marcella?
Oh, yes, Van Gogh. While you rot here, my sister witches will set me free at last to haunt the heavens and the... In a short while, Vincent, my loyal sisters will rescue me from this zone.
I wouldn't count on those three witches if I were you, Marcella.
Oh, I do appreciate your concern, but with the Book of Spells, they can't fail. Once they reach Stonehenge and make a brew, they'll chant Spell 13.
Which will set you free.
Precisely. And I'm afraid you can't follow me. At least not without your lovely necklace. Get used to Mr. Van Gogh, I'd think. He'll be staying here quite a while.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! We made it, sisters! Stonehenge! Yuck, yuck, yuck!
Well, now let's get Spell 13. Cook him!
You know what, he's right. That episode is really problematic. Look at the way they depicted those witches. You know? They made witches look ugly and weird looking, so I'm triggered right now. He's right.
You're triggered?
I'm triggered.
Uh-oh. What are you triggered?
Spell 13!
I'm triggered to level 13, the highest a witch can be triggered.
Wow. That's pretty triggered.
Cook him!
They're about to start their spell.
I can hardly believe what I'm seeing here. Now, we're looking at occultic things. We're seeing things like the chest of demons and witches and Stonehenge and occultic.
What the hell is? How does any of that have to do with the occult?
I have no idea. But if that scares him, I do not want to know what he reacts to when he sees the TV show Elf. So.
I'm scared of that collar. I mean, that collar is almost touching his shoulders. That's one big-ass collar.
13,
He
I
can
mean,
fly
we're
with that.
talking about...
So you're saying
Underneath
so you're saying we should make him a witch, so then he won't need a broom.
No, I'm just saying if he ever wants to go skydiving, he doesn't need a kite.
about
Just
satanic
float
things
on
here.
those collars.
Now, Phil, it's becoming obvious to me what's going on, and I wonder, how did you get started in exploring all of this? I mean, how did you get into analyzing the toy industry?
Well, it was very unusual. I was in the process of going on the mission field and working my way through that and speaking in different churches. The Lord directed me to go on a 14-day fast. And during this fast, I did something very unusual. I walked into a toy store. And when I walked into the toy store, I was faced with a toy holding an occult symbol in its hand. And this got my curiosity up, so I purchased the toy. And I read the comic book that was with it, and it was occultic practices within the comic book. So I talked about it in the church I was in that night, but I didn't think much of it. I threw it in the back seat of my car. About 3 days later, I was driving home from these series of services, and the Lord spoke to me about what happens when a child plays with a toy and how they project themselves with their imagination into a toy, and they give it life, character, abilities, talents, and they set the surrounding around the toy.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're saying...
I was at a pause there. I looked up the results of a 14-day fast, and he really would not be in the proper mindset.
Yeah, 14 days is an awful long time to go without eating.
I'm looking at the results online. Like, it's not really that good for you at all. Like, especially if you did a proper fast that's just water for 14 days.
Yeah, that's too much. I don't think that's healthy at all. It's your body would start to eat itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go like maybe a fast for maybe 1 to 3 days. Anything longer than that, and you start risking your body, cannibalizing itself. But what the hell was he talking about with this toy? What toy was it that had an occultic symbol in it and came with a comic book?
I'm guessing He-Man, but
did He-Man come with a you're probably too young for that, but did he? I don't think He-Man came with a comic book.
Well, maybe Moat will know. He seems to be on it 100%. So.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe Moat knows.
A child actually projects himself into the toy. Can you say that again? Because I think that's a real key here, that the cartoons have this kind of effect upon the child and even the toys.
Yeah, the toy is a lifeless hunk of plastic, and it only comes to life with that projection of the imagination into a toy.
Yeah.
And they give it life, character, abilities, talents, and set the surroundings around the toy.
So the child vicariously lives through that toy.
Yes, very much so. And the Lord told me that children were being affected by these things and that I was to do something about it, which proceeded in me starting studying this material over 2.5 years ago.
Well, we got a message from Moat. Moat says,
I love how so let me surmise what he just said.
Yeah.
The Lord God came to him and talked to him about how evil and demonic these toys are and how kids shouldn't play with them. So basically he's saying that his imaginary friend came down and told him that kids should not play with toys.
Yeah.
That's so fucked. For the last several years, a slow, subtle, occultic influence in our cartoons, but it's become so blatant. When do you feel this blatant turn towards the occult and witchcraft really took on its momentum?
Well, there's a cartoon called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Now, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe really broke the ground on this cartoon occultism. In fact, it set so many records. It was turned down by all 3 major networks, by the way. It was the first cartoon to go through independent TV stations as a first-run cartoon, and it covers 95% of America.
So you're saying He-Man was like an occultic forerunner to really blast this into the public's eye.
Oh yeah, the cartoon people have no problem getting another one through. They say, well, it's just like He-Man, but He-Man was such a tremendous success. In fact, it got as much as a 22-point Nielsen rating in many areas when it was shown, and that's market control, as you know.
Well, I think what we should do is let's watch on the screen right now and see an opening to a He-Man series and see some of the occultic overtones as we begin this. We're going to play a little segment here showing the transformation of He-Man.
Power of Grayskull.
This is so good, man. This is hilarious.
Well, now, Phil, here we're seeing a transformation of He-Man from a wimp, like a Clark Kent type of character, to the He-Man, and he says something like by the power of Grayskull. Is that correct?
Yes, what you just seen is He-Man being transformed. In fact, his name is Adam.
Yeah.
First man.
Interesting.
Until he's transformed, and then he becomes He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, by lifting his sword in the air and yelling by the power of Grayskull. Now, to understand this, we have to understand what Grayskull is. It is a castle built by unknown hands in the shape of the skull, and there's a demon spirit living within it that manifests in the shape of a skull. And so our good character is empowered by occultic demon spirits.
You're kidding me. No. So all of this is coming forth, and the children, whether consciously or subconsciously, are picking up all these occultic overtones.
Oh, very much so.
You know, I received this letter. I thought I might read it here. A lady had written to the Eagle's Nest, and she said, how harmless are the cartoon characters on the Masters of the Universe program for children? My sister-in-law allows her son to watch this television show, and he also has all the characters, He-Man, Skeletor, who you see on the screen right now, and the Castle of Grayskull, to which this little 2-year-old boy repeats from the show, by the power of Grayskull. Here's a little boy repeating, 2 years old, by the power of Grayskull, and she says he holds his hand up, saluted to the sky. So a 2-year-old is actually learning these things.
Well, the Bible says, dear children, let nothing take God's place in your hearts.
Right.
And He-Man is being lifted up as a god, and many children are receiving him as such. In fact,
Who is seeing He-Man as a god? I can't take this guy. Like, he's driving me nuts. Like, the live, like, the people watching me right now are just like, what is Dorian doing? Because I'm, like, flipping out and, like, trying to make sense of this. I can't do it. Like, how?
I don't know, but I'm going to worship He-Man from now on.
Oh yes, I remember. In ancient Greece, there was Zeus and his brother He-Man, so...
Talking to one lady, and I've heard a number of experiences like this, but she said, my little boy was in the back seat of the car, and a radio preacher came on and said, our Lord God, the master of the universe. And her boy jumped from the back seat of the car and said, Mommy, God isn't master of the universe, He-Man is.
What? A little boy said that He-Man is the master of the universe?
Oh, even more so. I've got another one. My dad was talking about my presentation in a church, and a little boy was seen afterwards. I mean, I didn't even do the presentation. And afterwards, he was seen in the parking lot. Now, this is a kid growing up in a Christian home, going to church, Sunday school, the whole shot.
Right.
Out in the parking lot with He-Man in his hand, running around in circles saying, He-Man has more power than Jesus. He-Man has more power than Jesus.
So we can assume that millions of children that you say watch.
That kid, though, like, first off, the innocence of children in general, like, it's the parent's job to help the child distinguish between character and everything else.
Yeah, but I don't think a kid I don't think a kid after Sunday school or whenever it was supposed to be was out in the parking lot holding a little He-Man doll and pronouncing that He-Man is more powerful than Jesus. I mean, just sounds so ridiculous and so staged. I don't buy it. You know, I mean, this is one thing that really pisses me off about a lot of these religious people, and not every single Christian is like this, but these particular people, they lie. I mean, there's no other way I can put it. They just outright lie. And they make shit up to fit some kind of an agenda that they have. And they don't care who it hurts, or, you know, they have absolutely no self-awareness about it. They just will fucking lie about shit. And that's the thing that pisses me off the most, because in the Bible it says, you know, not to bear false witness against your neighbor. And that's exactly what they're doing, is they are bearing false witness. They're lying about stuff that didn't happen to try and manipulate their audience. And it's just, it's just so disgusting.
Well, even in the part,
anyhow,
the whole part in the Gospel of Acts, it says, like, we do not, it has been said that we've been accused of doing bad, so good shall happen. Lying would be causing a lot of bad JoJo there too, so he's breaking.
Yeah,
he's breaking
I mean, and it's just, yeah, and you know, Christians are supposed to be these good, upright people who, you know, doing good deeds and living a righteous life and doing all this thing, and then they're just turning around and making up lies and just bullshitting, and it's just, that's what I just find so disgusting. It's just this whole self-righteousness that these people get into, and they're just completely slimy, just lying.
Yeah.
These programs are having their minds transformed from reading the Word of God or believing what the Bible says to believing what the cartoons are saying. They have that kind of influence on their mind.
Right, they're taking on many gods. Many gods.
Well, let's look at what this is spawning in our toy stores. Each cartoon is spawning little toys that represent the cartoon. Is that correct?
Right.
All right, then I'm going to show you a He-Man figure here, and he's got this, what do you call this sword here?
Well, that's the sword of power, but as we've talked about He-Man, he becomes transformed. Now, from He-Man, we need to take a look at Skeletor.
Okay, now this is the He-Man, a muscular figure and so forth that mostly little boys follow, I take it?
Right.
But the little girls have someone too.
Oh, many little girls play with this toy.
Oh, really? Well, let's look at Skeletor now. We've got him up on our screen, and Skeletor is this ugly-looking skeletal creature with a staff in his hand. Now, what's that staff that he's got in his hand?
The staff is a ram's head staff. Now, the ram's head is a very occultic symbol. It's boiled in cauldrons. It's used in different occult practices. But when it's seen on the staff, it's called a Norok. And when the Norok is pictured in occult books, many times it's pictured with the butt of the staff crushed onto the head of a dove. Now, Skeletor introduces most of the occult within the toy series. He has the ability to mind control, to levitate, to astral project, and to do many other occult practices and pagan religion practices.
What occult book is that from?
I honestly don't know. It's not from my Book of Shadows, that's for sure.
Boys, for instance, could watch Skeletor with his staff of power here, and they could, and you say this was actually used to crush a dove that represents total satanic power. Of course, we know that the goat's head, the ram's head, represents Satan anyway in the occult. So little boys are really being programmed to evil. And where does Skeletor live?
Well, Skeletor lives in Eternia with He-Man. Now, Eternia is a good world that they live in, and we'll see some things about Eternia a little later on.
Now, who lives in Snake Mountain?
Well, Skeletor lives in Snake Mountain.
Could we talk about Snake Mountain for
Sure,
just a minute?
let's take a look at it.
Now, we have a toy that we got at the store, which is called simply Snake Mountain. I thought I'd get this toy up here if we can get that on the screen. And here's the snake and all. I mean, this is definitely an occultic toy. And it's got an interesting little feature here. I'm going to turn it on. It can actually transform your voice from your regular voice to that of an occultic hero. Is that correct? So let's get a Skeletor type of voice. Let me turn this on here. I think I'm getting it too loud. Skeletor, the master of the universe. Does that give you kind of an example of...
Yeah, you should see the commercial they play with it, you know.
That is so satanic, man. I have to have one.
It transforms your voice into that of an evil.
So little children would actually use that to even identify more with these occultic heroes, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it would be interesting if we went to another video showing even more of the occultic overtones in these different characters. So let's go to another He-Man serial right now showing the occult.
You have a great challenge facing you, He-Man. Perhaps the greatest of your life. Have you ever heard of the Star Seed?
I thought it was a myth.
It is no myth. It is real. And it is right here in Eternia. Let me show you in the mirror. Eternia is an unusual planet, for we are located directly in the center of the universe. It was here, where we now stand, that the explosion took place which created the universe billions of years ago. At the very center of our planet, there is a small piece of the energy left from that explosion. The very energy which set the stars burning and the planet spinning. The Star Seed. Speak a thing to the Star Seed and it makes it happen. It can do anything. It is all powerful. For untold ages, the location of the Star Seed was known only to a chosen few of the cosmic enforcers. But its location is no longer a secret. At this very moment, Skeletor is tunneling his way to the center of Eternia. Can you imagine what would happen?
Is this possible, Phil, as we're watching this witch talking? She's talking about the creation of the universe, how it was created with a great big explosion, or what some of the scientists would call the Big Bang Theory today, which totally throws out creationism. And then we see her saying the Star Seed is all-powerful, and she mentions Skeletor and Castle Grayskull, which we'll get to a little later. But all of this, I mean, we're seeing such occultic overtones, and this segment we just played was not something we looked for. We just turned on the TV and recorded the first segment.
What?
They're not, I mean, they're just saying occult, but it doesn't have anything to do with anything that I've ever come across in the occult. It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Well, apparently because
they're just...
It's not Adam and Eve, so it's the occult, so...
Right, exactly.
Segment we saw, isn't that correct?
That's right.
Well, I want to get back to exposing some of these characters that we see in the cartoons. So, Phil, would you tell us about the characters we're seeing on the screen right now?
Well, we have a good versus evil here, battle. But the good is empowered by satanic power. This is Tila. They call her the warrior goddess or the patron saint of all warriors. You notice that she's wearing a cobra head breastplate and has a cobra head staff in her hand. Now, the cobra is the symbol for demonic power and protection. And this young lady is involved in witchcraft, and you notice that she's a very voluptuous-looking thing, and they wear very tightly clad clothes and sometimes even negligee type things on the show.
So there's a sensuality about the toys also.
Yes. This character is called Many-Faces.
If he's finding that image sexually appealing, that's on him.
Yeah. Like, even at the time, you guys must have had, like in the 80s, like, bikinis must have been around in the 80s, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because that's showing...
I mean, but still, I mean, nobody was, like, running, you know, nobody's looking at least, I don't know, maybe I was just different, but I didn't look at those images and actually appealing to me. It's like, it's just a toy.
Now, in a cartoon, Many-Faces becomes demon-possessed by drinking a magical potion that Skeletor gives him. Now, he is released from that, he becomes a good character, but he still has the demon living within him, and every once in a while it wells up inside and makes him an evil character again. So he crosses back and forth.
You mean little children with a Many Faces toy, now I've got the little Many Faces toy here, can actually see him transform from a demon-possessed skeleton type of creature to a good guy.
And back.
I guess what you do with the toy, if we might try it here, is you can turn this little deal and you can make his face change.
There you go.
And there he becomes a good guy. And then the little child can, there's several faces, the many faces in this little toy, which change, but you know, you can become a skeleton creature and we could go around to the different faces. And this has got to have some kind of a message to the children.
Oh, definitely. It says you can be demon-possessed and still be good.
You're kidding.
Yeah, that's what, you know, if you have a demon living within you.
Toys.
Oh no, you gotta project a lot onto that. Like, the thought that even He-Man...
Yeah, I mean, kids don't care. They're just...
And then you're playing on the good side, then that's the obvious inference there. This character here is called Stratos. They call him the Winged Lord. He has the ability to fly and to shoot fire from his hands. You'll notice that he's a half man, half bird.
Yeah.
Now this is an inference from the gods of the ancients. They're half men, half beasts. This particular one is the sun god Ra. He's becoming a very popular revival within the toy and cartoon series, as we'll see in some of the other cartoons later on.
We're going back to ancient pagan gods and forming our toys after them.
Right.
Oh my. What's our next toy here?
Well, we're going to take a look at some of the actual occult practices within the cartoon series, and part of the way I do that is to look at the comic books that come with them. This is the PowerPoint Dread. Now in the PowerPoint Dread we see Skeletor in a classic lotus position of meditation. Legs crossed, palms on the knees, with the palms out. He is levitating off the ground.
In a yoga type position.
Right. He has a power being coming from his head holding a crystal ball. Crystal ball is used in necromology or communication with the dead.
Right.
Have you ever used a crystal ball?
And he's talking about that this crystal ball is the only thing that will allow him to focus all of his psychic energies. That's on the first page of one comic book.
I can't believe this. And so there's all kinds of occultic things happening right in the front of the comic book here. And now?
This one's the Magic Stealer. Now in the Magic Stealer, Skeletor introduces the power of the pyramid cult. Now, he walks to the center of the pyramid, he sits inside, and he starts to steal the power of Eternia. Now, Eternia is the good world they live in. And these are the powers that rule that good world. This fiery serpent, these fiery skulls, this gargoyle. Do you know what they call these things?
No, what?
The spirits of the air.
Spirit? Well, and that's Ephesians 6:12, isn't it? Where we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual power, spiritual wickedness, principalities and powers, spiritual wickedness in heavenly places, the powers of the air.
Or the spirits of the air.
The spirits of the air, and the rulers of darkness of this world. So actually these cartoons are making real what Satan has had for a long time.
Right.
When I was brought up, I watched cartoons like Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, Daffy Duck, I mean, Elmer Fudd, and all of the Looney Tunes. But today, there's a different kind of cartoon that's coming on our TV sets. And the question is there a well-organized plot, an insidious design right now to program and influence the minds of our children towards the occult and witchcraft? We see things like spell books and witches and zones.
You see the Illuminati? Can you hear me okay, man?
Yep.
Okay.
I can hear you, yeah.
Of eternal evil and all kinds of demons in today's cartoons, and we're discussing today with our special guest Phil Phillips. And Phil, I'd like to welcome you to the program. God bless you. Phil comes from Texas, and Phil has been doing a tremendous intensive study of the cartoons that children view today. He's looked at the toys that they're buying in the toy stores, at the comic books.
Did we back it up?
No, that's what I thought. Like, I had to go back there and check. Like, he reset a lot of that. Like, he just reintroduced them for some reason.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. Maybe it was like a commercial break or something?
Maybe.
They were anticipating. Okay.
That they read, and he's seen that they vicariously vicariously live their lives through these cartoon characters and toys. Now, if we miss the generation of youth that's coming up, if we do not minister to them, the Lord Jesus Christ, then we've lost the generation of tomorrow, and the Antichrist will have them. I believe the Antichrist is trying to program the minds of our youth, and he's getting his spell, his control on their minds, and today we're going to be talking about those youth. Now, in God's economy, children are very important, and I wonder, Phil, if the church is overlooking the children. Do you?
Insanity
still carries on till today. It's what the same conspiracy theories, what the people believe today. It's like this has not changed in the past, what, 30, 40, almost 50 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, let's see, 20, 10, the past 30, 35 years, or 30 years.
Do you think this is happening?
Well, in church history, yes. The church has overlooked the children on many occasions. Some people, in trying to put emphasis on the children, have said that children are the church of tomorrow. But that's not a true statement. Children are the church of today. They're an integral part of the body of Christ today. God has placed them within our bodies, and we have to make sure that they are healthy and spiritually alive.
Yes.
You see, children, their relationship to God is as important to God as our relationship to God. Mm-hmm. And this should motivate us toward ministry to the children.
Well, now we know that TV has become a babysitter for children. And when parents don't want to take responsibility for children, they send them to sit in front of their TV babysitter. How much time does TV take in the average child's life?
Well, in 1978, there was a study done that said children watched an average of 15,000 hours of television before they graduated from high school, while only spending 11,000 hours in the classroom. In 1984, the same study was done, and the figure is up to 22,000 hours on the average in front of the television set. That's 1,000 hours a year increase. So with that and the 11,000 hours in school, we have 33,000 hours of total input into a child's life before he's 18 years of age.
22,000 hours, and a lot of that is taken up in cartoons. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Because we've noticed that the cartoons are not only just Saturday morning, but every afternoon. The children, they're at key times of the day when the children can watch them.
Well, a preschool-age child will watch between 22 and 26 hours of television a week. At any time, day or night, preschoolers make up 22% of the television viewing audience.
Now, when these children watch television, do they see it in the same way that we as adults do, or are they affected differently than adults?
Children view television in a vastly different manner than adults do. In fact, until a child is about the age of 7, he cannot differentiate between fantasy and reality as it deals with the television. It's like you've turned on the TV is when you open the drapes to your living room window and sit them down and let them view their neighbors. And they see what's happening outside. In fact, I was watching TV when I was about 2 years old and turned it on, and Lassie went running into a burning barn. And those words came on the screen that we've all come to hate, "to be continued."
Oh, yeah.
And I was crying and very upset by this, and my dad was trying to comfort me and said, "That's not real, that's just fantasy." But that didn't help because I believed it was real. I could not comprehend fantasy. And so he finally faked a phone call to the TV producers to make sure she was okay.
The only thing I'm thinking about during all this, though, what would Phil Phillips be saying today with children's dolls and YouTube?
I don't know. I was just wondering what Phil Phillips is doing today. I wonder what his middle name is. You think his middle name is Philip?
Phil Philip Phillips. Oh, Phil. No, it's like Phil Philly Phillips. Like...
Phil Philip Phillips. He's just like he's an all Phil kind of guy.
Oh man, I'm just going to make a record here because we are about to hit the ending and stuff like that of our weekly show. So. Oh
yes, we should probably end this. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to, after this, of course, I'm gonna have to do a Google search on Phil Phillips.
Good old Philly P. I feel kind of bad for the guy. Like, just imagine your mom calling you Philip, like Philip.
Philip. Yeah. It's just cruel.
Oh man. All right, so I'm just gonna bring up our chat right here. Extend that for anyone who wants to say special goodbye or anything. So, damn, I love how flexible this is. Like, oh, I love it. Alrighty. Well, do you have any special announcements or anything before we say goodbye, or?
No, just my apologies to everyone. We were going to have the names junkie on, and something happened. Either he thought maybe there was a time change, or not time change, but maybe a time confusion or something like that. I haven't heard from him, but hopefully we will have him on next week if he's available. So my apologies, because I know we said that we were going to have a guest on this week, but it didn't pan out. And also, thanks so much for doing this new setup, Dorian. It looks great.
Oh, no problem, man. As we go on, the setup will alter and change and stuff like that to get even better. So,
definitely.
All right. Well, we got our good nights and thank yous from Raise a Village, Star Dancer. Holy cow, Jimmy! It's almost midnight.
Wow.
Well, guys, it was fun. Thank you for putting up with my new little weird setup here. I'm kind of happy everything worked out. So.
All right. Thanks all. Good night. Good night, Dorian.
Night, everybody.